Hey everybody, it's ScomletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today I'll be playing a Chromatic Cube draft. For those who don't know, cube drafts are where you're going to be drafting from a curated list of cards instead of just opening booster packs from a specific set to draft out of. So this is going to include a lot of the strongest rares, mythics, just cards in general from all over Arena. This time the cube's theme is going to be a lot of multicolored cards, and because this is a cube draft, it will be a phantom draft experience, meaning we're not going to keep any of the cards that we draft today. We are just going to be drafting for the prizes on the tracker as well as for the fun of the event. So as you can see here in the cube list, there is a mountain of multicolored stuff here. So this is, the main theme of the cube, just a ton of multicolored, big, splashy kind of spells. So it should be a pretty fun time. So without further ado, let's just hop into the draft and see what we get to build today. Alright, here we are in pack 1 of our cube draft, and really in your pack 1s in any cube draft, you're going to see a ton of incredibly powerful options of where you can go. So you can't go wrong early in the cube draft because everything is pretty powerful. However, there's one card that I think could be a really good build around it. Yori and the Sky Nomad. Companions tend to be very, very powerful. They have been nerfed. You do have to spend 3 mana to pull them to your hand from outside of the game. But in a cube draft format, it shouldn't be that hard to build a pretty powerful 60 card deck that wouldn't be that much weaker than your 40 card drafted deck. So the upside you get from basically having an 8th card in hand every game can be pretty big. So I think just starting with a Yori in here and attempting to go that direction could be a pretty powerful start to the draft, and I think that's what I'm going to go for here. There are, of course, tons of incredibly powerful cards in this pack, really good options to go with. Lightning Bolt, Kolaghan's Command, Count Dracula. So there's just tons of incredible stuff. That's going to be how it is in pretty much every pick. There's a ton of different ways you can go, and none of them are too much weaker than what we end up going with. So it's going to be a little hard to mention all of the stuff that I'm passing in these cube drafts. Ooh, Omnath Locus of Creation. This is the nerfed version, the alchemy version, so it's way different than the Zendikar when it costs 5 mana instead of 4. Is that the only difference now? It used to be that only scries instead of drawing is how they nerfed it. Whenever land enters, you gain 4 life. It's the first time. Second time, you get 4 mana. Third time, you get 4 damage. Alright, it looks like it's just 1 more mana. Still seems pretty powerful. 5 mana for a 4/4 draw card, and then a bunch of good landfall triggers. We could try to go for like red, green, white, blue. We're already trying to go white, blue with Yori in here. So Omnath looks kind of sweet here. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of interested in that. We could probably take lands pretty highly, like Jetmir's Garden, if we're trying to go 4 or 5 color decks, just even before we take the big splashy multicolored cards. But for now, I'm just going to scoop up the Omnath here. I don't think I've ever cast an Omnath in my life, but it is a pretty sweet, pretty powerful card. Oh, they put Torbran in this cube? They put the triple red and 1 just mono red aggro card in the Chromatic Cube. I really hope mono red aggro is not very powerful, because that would be a big bummer when a lot of your decks are going to be trying to cast cards like Inspired Ultimatum, and then you just get absolutely demolished by mono red. That would be a pretty sad time. I think I like taking some kind of mana dork here if we're going to be trying to go for a 4-color deck potentially, so like Incubation Druid as an option here, ramping us up and helping our mana a little bit. Yep, that seems like a solid pick to me out of this stuff to go with what we have so far. Inspired Ultimatum would be okay as well, but I don't want to take a million like 7 mana cards to start off with. Don't want to take those really giant splashy spells until I know I have the support in my mana base and in my creatures to get towards casting them. I kind of like Ornithopter of Paradise here. This is probably going to be a pretty nice card in this cube for enabling your multicolored shenanigans, getting a mana of any color. Similar to the Incubation Druid, but much easier to cast, being completely colorless. And it's not reliant on what lands you control, unlike the Incubation Druid, which is. So Ornithopter of Paradise seems pretty sweet to me. There are some big splashy plays like Cavalier of Flame that are pretty powerful. Some solid lands like Crag Crown Pathway being a red-green dual, or Thriving Heath being a white and then any second color, but I like Ornithopter of Paradise here. Seems like it should be helpful for our multicolored nonsense. Ooh, Escape to the Wilds. This card has been pretty dang powerful in every cube, just a large card draw spell in red-green, colors that don't get a ton of card draw. So this card is pretty strong. We are already potentially playing red-green here, red-green, white, blue with Omnath. You're getting 5 cards out of your library. You can play them until the end of your next turn, and you can play an additional land the turn that you play this spell. So that seems pretty great. We could go for Deafening Clarion, though, if we're particularly scared about the aggressive decks, which looks like it's a possibility. Seasoned Pyromancer, Torbrand, stuff like that could lead to a kind of devastating like mono red aggro deck. So Deafening Clarion could be a nice safety valve against those kind of decks, but I'm just going to take Escape to the Wilds. For this first time in the cube, I'm just going to try to do all of my own big stuff rather than try to play like a whole ton of interaction, and then we'll just see kind of how things play out in this gameplay and use that to adjust my pick orders for the future cube drafts. See if we get a better handle on things as time progresses. Ashaya is pretty powerful. Always going to be quite a large creature, basically at least a 6/6, because it'll be a land, and you'll have 5 lands when you play it most of the time. Yeah, pretty powerful creature there. Temple of the Dragon Queen seems like solid mana fixing, though. It's basically Evolving Wilds, where it's going to come into play as the color that you need. So that seems fine. Zeotor's Proving Ground is fine. We don't have any black cards yet, but we might even be going for a full 5 color. We're only 1 color off from it, so it's possible. Yeah, I guess I'll go Zeotor's Proving Ground over Temple of the Dragon Queen here. But I definitely like scooping up a little land there. Armingala, that's the better version of Broker's Ascendancy, where it's going to give everything in your deck +1/+1 as well, and everything in your hand, not just the cards on your board, which is pretty ridiculous. But Terror of the Peaks is also a pretty ridiculous card. Whenever any other creature enters the battlefield under your control, you're dealing damage equal to that creature's power to any target, including your opponent's face. Such a powerful enter the battlefield effect. Plus, it's a 5-mana 5/4 flyer that deals 3 to your opponent if they ever target it. I'm probably supposed to take some mana fixing here, but I really like Terror of the Peaks. That is a sick card. You know what? Let's just make sure we are definitely like the 4-color good stuff deck. I'm going to take a Spire Bluff Canal here. I'm going to start doing some picks that are going to look pretty boring to a lot of those watching, but these are the kind of picks that are going to really enable our deck to do the more fun things. So while it's not fun to take a land over cards that look like they do fun things, it'll make it more fun in the gameplay because we'll be able to actually cast our spells a lot more often, especially in a cube like this where we're leaning towards a 4-color deck right now. So I'm going to go Clifftop Retreat here. That pick was a lot easier because there wasn't anything nearly as exciting as the dragon in that one. Rootbound Crag's a great on-color card. Lightning Bolt might be the pick though. Nice cheap removal, keeps us alive pretty well. I really want to draft Pool of Vigorous Growth a couple times because that is just the Momir emblem. It's just X mana, discard a card, create a random creature with mana value X. Super fun little dorky card there. I'm actually going to go Lightning Bolt here. I think it's one of the best just 1 mana little removal spells to keep us alive on the entirety of Arena. So I'm actually going to take that rather than the land that time, because that is something I think we will be missing out on a lot. This cube should be full of just really powerful, splashy cards at higher mana costs, especially when we have access to 4 colors. So I don't think I need to take the big game-ending cards particularly highly, but I should probably take the nice cheap removal that keeps us alive pretty highly, and definitely the mana fixing as well. Here it's going to be Fauna Shaman for me. This card is really good in singleton formats like this, where if you draw a creature that doesn't work particularly well at a certain time, you can discard that and tutor up the exact right creature for whatever scenario is going on. So that I like Fauna Shaman a lot. Like if we draw Ornithopter Paradise when we really have 7 mana or something, we just discard it to Fauna Shaman and pick up an Omnath. So yeah, that card is pretty great. Yeah, now we can just take a big splashy win condition, Inspired Ultimatum, I guess. It's going to be pretty dang hard to cast, but still looks like a pretty fun card to try to play around with. I'll definitely take the red-green pathway there. We do wield the Deafening Clarion to have a little more protection against those aggressive decks if they exist. I'm not entirely certain, but seeing Torbrand in this cube makes me feel like it is a distinct possibility. These are both for like a blue-red spells deck. I don't think either of these are going to work very well for us. But we'll see. Armingala really late. That could be a thing. We're probably not going to have a particularly high creature count, though. So what do we have now? I like Intervention as another removal spell. This one's a little more expensive, though. 4 mana to deal 3 to something and gain 3 life. Fire Prophecy is actually pretty solid cheap removal. 1 more mana than Lightning Bolt, but you get to put a card from your hand on the bottom of your library and draw a card when you cast it. So a couple little removal spells for staying alive. Menagerie Curator actually could be pretty sweet here. In a 4-color deck, it's only adding mana to cast creatures, but every time that we cast a creature that doesn't share a creature type with one in our library, we get to draw a card. So if we just have a bunch of just random creature types all over our deck, like we currently have, that could be pretty good. And that is mana fixing, so it's almost like taking the land here. We do see some really good cards for mono red deck. Rahilda here, phenomenal for mono red aggro. Siege Gang Commander, that would also just be fine in our deck, but it would be also strong in mono red. So that, again, leaves me a little scared of the aggro decks. I'm going to go Menagerie Curator here. That just seems like a fun card to try to play around with. And just very good mana fixing. Ooh, Lurrus of the Dream Den. Imagine pick one pack wanting the Lurrus of the Dream Den, trying to play that as your companion. That could be pretty cool. Excellent mana for us in this pack. Fabled Passage, Rockfall Vale, and Hedgegate Pathway. We're probably going to take one of those. Because again, the solid cards like Combustible Gear, Hulk, Rashmi, and stuff, they're just all over. We can get them at later times. I guess the biggest problem with Yorion here, taking Omnath right after Yorion might have been a bit of a mistake, because the problem is that we have to spend some picks taking lands, which means it's going to be harder for us to get to a 60-card deck, because several of the cards taken will be lands. So if we take 10 lands, we'll only have 30 non-land cards in our deck, and then Yorion's not really going to work out as well. So that was kind of a big mistake right off the bat, just because I saw a big 4-color card and got pretty excited about it, even though it doesn't really work with Yorion too hard. So Yorion might not end up in the command zone, in the companion zone, whatever you want to call it. Niv-Mizzet Reborn is a pretty good reason to be in 5-color. 5 mana for a 6/6 flyer, and it's going to let us potentially draw up to 10 cards if we're incredibly lucky, but it'll often draw like 2 or 3. If you have a lot of 2-colored cards, we have Deafening Clarion, Yorion, Escape to the Wilds, Armangala. We've got a solid start to a Niv-Mizzet deck. Helena and Elena is probably the safest pick here, because we're pretty heavy into red and green. This card is just single-handedly very powerful, but we're just going to go big and splashy for our first Chromatic Cube draft, I think. Seems like the funnest way to go. Xander's Lounge seems pretty good here. Get another tricolored land. Yeah, I mean, we could go Zakama, but that's just very, very big and splashy. We've already got some good splashy stuff going on. Probably can't play this Inspired Ultimatum if we're going to go a full 5-color. We're just going to hit too many green and black sources, making this a card we don't get to play until we have like 10 lands out. Just way too slow. Another great land here, or what else? Back Alley Gardener is interesting. When your creatures are coming to play, you're seeking lands. I think I'm just going for more mana, though. Probably want more green sources than anything, so I like the black-green pathway. But lands that can produce 2 different colors at the same time are generally a little more valuable in pathways when you're into 5 colors. Yeah, I'll go Steam Vents. I'll go Steam Vents here. Now we have some more mana dorks. Elysian Caryatid, Scuttlemutt, Springbloom Druid even. And then we have some fight spells, some enter the battlefield effect, recursion spells, or the Temple of Milady. I think I just want another mana dork here. Let's just have a bunch of mana dorks. Pick up a Caryatid. So there's Kyodai, which, oh my god, Litry's still in here? This cannot be correct. If anybody was in blue or red, you just scoop up Lutri. So the reason is because the companion ability on this card is that each non-land card in your starting deck has a different name. That is literally always going to happen in a cube draft. So Lutri means you always start the game with an 8-card hand. It doesn't really matter how individually powerful Lutri is as a spell. It's just the fact that you always start with 8 cards versus your opponent's 7 that makes Lutri absolutely bonkers. So anyone in blue or red, I would have slammed Lutri over pretty much anything else. So kind of crazy to see that so late, but I'm certainly happy for it. Take a big old Velomachus, I guess. If we want more red-white cards, we probably just want another land. I'll take an isolated Chapel. Ooh, Fire Prophecy wheeled for us. That's pretty great. Nice cheap removal, but there's also Glacial Fortress again for our mana. Banishing Light for cheap. Cheap removal. Looks like we're kind of like red-green as the core, splash in every other color sort of going on here. I'm going to go for the Fire Prophecy for that reason. And definitely like the red-green duel. Helena and Elena still in the pack. Scoop that right up. That gives us another 2-colored card as well for Niv Mizzet Reborn to draw into. Cold Steel Heart would certainly be powerful in this deck for similar reasons to all of our mana dorks. Emergent Sequence would be a little bit worse, but Cold Steel Heart would be pretty good. But Helena and Elena is just a bonkers card. I'm not going to pass that up there. All right, Blue-White Duel. These are all somewhat off color. Sure, we're playing every single color, but it's best to focus on a couple colors so you can put primarily those basic lands in your deck so you know you're doing well on mana. Ooh, we wheeled a Back Alley Gardener to try that out, I guess. Could be fine. We are definitely doing Chromatic Cube things. That is the one thing you can say here. I'm not sure how it's all going to work out for us, but we'll find out soon enough. Definitely taking a Scuttlemutt here. That's wonderful for us. And Gray Merchant is awful for us. Yeah, there's some weird things going on in this cube. Like, you're super multicolored cube, but you have Torbrand in here, which only works with red cards and requires triple red to cast. Then you have Gray Merchant of Asphodel, which is all about your mono black devotion. Super strange. Some strange choices. So now we have a ton of different non-basic lands. So Field of the Dead is going to be just a verifiable win condition. As you can see, it's banned in a ton of formats because of how powerful it is in a deck like this. Basically, once you get to 7 different lands on the board, you just start spitting out 2/2 zombies every time you play a land. So just an incredibly powerful card. We're going to have to take that here. Volo would be a lot of fun in our deck. And Gilded Goose would be a great mana dork to add in. I think those are my top 3 picks. And then it just drops to the lands. But I'm going for Field of the Dead. The card is absurd. Absolutely absurd. We get another 5-color card here, the Kami War. Exile an online permanent, return permanents to your opponent's hand and make them discard a card, and then get a gigantic game-ending flying trample threat. Sure. When in the Chromatic Cube, let's just keep doing our 5-color stuff and see what happens. We're probably cutting the Inspired Ultimatum. We're going to run Yorion as part of the main deck. We're not going to... Oh my god, we got Golos as well. The cream of the crop for your 5-color decks. No, there's Nico Bolas. My boy. Oh, my favorite Planeswalker ever printed. And we have to take Golos because we're going for 5-color here. But yeah, Golos is just like the best way to get a 5-color deck going and the best card to have with Field of the Dead in draft. Golos is absurd. Search your library for any land card, put it onto the battlefield, tapped, then shuffle. So you grab whatever 3-colored land you need. And then once you hit 7 mana, you can just start casting spells off the top of your library for free, which is absurd when you have a bunch of high mana cost, hard to cast spells like Niv Mizzet and the Kami, where Golos is easily the pick. And I am now very happy with this deck. Oh, now we have Kinnan, Bonder Prodigy, which is going to be a dual-colored card for Niv Mizzet to draw into, and it's also going to double up the mana our mana dorks are providing. We have Scuttlemutt, Ornithopter Paradise, Menagerie, Curator, Incubation Druid, Elysian, Caryatid, all getting doubled by Kinnan. Plus it has a similar ability to Golos if we hit 7 mana, where we can now just start putting non-human creatures from the top of our library into play. So Kinnan seems very good here. That being said, there's another cheap removal spell, Fight with Fire, that would be great for us, some more interaction, and there's also a red and X duel, the Thriving Bluff, that would be good, but Kinnan just seems like what the doctor ordered. And again, we are getting all the goodies here in the end, unfortunately passing up on a lot of lands now, but that is thanks to taking all those lands earlier. I think we have room to do that. Essica, God of the Tree here. The front half of this card is going to help us mana fix to whatever we need, and the back half of the card is going to let us just start dropping things on the board for free. Essica is going to be phenomenal here. Now we have Jegantha. Do we have any with multiple mana symbols of the same cost? We have Yorion in the deck. And Essica. Yeah, Jegantha, we aren't going to be able to play that as a companion, most likely, unless we cut Essica and Yorion. your starting deck, does that count your companions in the side? I don't know if that counts your companions in the side. Maybe I'm supposed to take Alloy Mirror or Bluing Marsh, but I'm just going to figure out when we get to deck building how that actually works. But probably was not supposed to take that, because I don't think that it works with a Lutri as your companion as well. I don't think we can have Lutri and Giganta as a companion. But if we can, that might be worth not playing Essica to do that, and not playing Yorion. So this time we have Primal Command for cheap interaction, or we have Sulfur Falls for mana fixing. We've got Bolt and Fire Prophecy. Hopefully we can just be kind of like the Solitaire deck now that we have a bunch of just big splashy things to do. I have Temple of Epiphany, Overgrown Farmland, Lightning Helix. I think this time I might actually just take Lightning Helix, because that card is awesome. 1 more mana than Lightning Bolt, and you get to just gain 3 life slapped onto it in addition. Cycling lands are solid, as are pathways. These are all solid cards. I'm going to take the land here again. We don't actually have like as many big high mana cards as I would want, I think. So probably should take 1 or 2 other big bombs if we see them this late. Definitely taking Black Market Tycoon here. It's a mana dork, basically, because you can tap this to produce a treasure that adds mana of any color. So it's kind of a 2 mana 2/2 add a mana of any color. Just always use the treasures immediately. So what do we have now? Destroy all non-creature, non-land permanents, make a bunch of 2/1s, and that works with Niv Mizzet. It's going to be our next just white-black card. Seems best to me. Mirari's Wake's pretty bonkers too, though. But I'm going to take Blot Out the Sky here, because we already have a green-white card. We don't have a white-black card. Getting a little greedy with the Niv Mizzet Reborn plays. All right, now we've got Great Interaction, Fight with Fire, or Electrolyze. I'm going to take Fight with Fire here. It's just a lot easier to cast, but Electrolyze is very cool. I guess Electrolyze would be our first blue-red card. Maybe it's Electrolyze there. Maelstrom Archangel. All right, well, this is probably the weakest 5-color card in the whole cube. A 5 mana 5/5 flyer that by the time you've cast it, you have a mana of any color. You can probably cast everything. But it's still a 5 mana card when we're drafting a 5-color deck. Or a 5-color card when we're drafting a 5-color deck. So I'm not going to pass it up for the powerful like red-green alchemy card there. Even though maybe I should. It's just cool. It's just cool. Because we get to show off and cast a 5-color card. All right, so we get to cut 6 cards out of this deck, so that is helpful. So if we put Lutri in the companion slot. Oh wait, you can only have 1 companion. Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter, because you can only have 1 companion anyway. All right, it's been a while since I've played with companions. They are... I basically only draft, so I haven't played with companions really since Ikoria, or since the last cube. So yeah, we should not have taken Giganta. I was under the impression that you could maybe do multiple companions if you meet both of their requirements. That is apparently not the case, and somehow I've put Lutri in the sideboard. Okay, so we're going with Lutri, or Lutri, or whatever it is. And we're cutting 5 cards. Don't think we're cutting any non-creature cards here. Get rid of that Fauna Shaman style. Okay, so what do we have here? Fauna Shaman, I love it. The Mana Dorks are all phenomenal as well. Kitten and Ornithopter Predator, so we're not cutting any 2-drops really. We might cut one of these 3 mana Mana Dorks, because the 2 mana ones are just going to be better. Eska's potentially the 5 mana Prismatic Bridge, 5-color card as well. We got to consider. Oh, I guess Omnath is 5 mana now. Let's probably cut Giganta. I mean, it is a really good mana dork, but by the time we have 5 mana again, we're still already casting most stuff, so probably not. Yorion doesn't look super good in here, but it is a white-blue card to draw off of Niv Mizzet Reborn, and we do have some Enter the Battlefield effects that would be powerful to redo, like Niv Mizzet Reborn, the Kami War, Omnath even, Golos. Is Radiant Scroll Wielder even good here? We have Deafening Clarion, Fight with Fire, Fire Prophecy, Lightning Helix, and Lightning Bolt. We've got 5 cards that work with it. I guess we leave it in, because it's another red-white card to draw off Niv-Mizzet Reborn, plus it does make all those cards stronger. And it is returning them from grave to hand as well. Yeah, it's not horrible. Maybe Back Alley Gardener is a little harder to cast than is justified. Man, these kind of decks are just difficult to build. I feel like we're almost definitely supposed to cut Maelstrom Archangel. Because again, a 5-mana 5/5 flyer is not very powerful. That is not worth the work done to get white, blue, black, red, and green. And then the way that it justifies itself is that when it deals combat damage to a player, you can cast a spell from your hand without paying its mana cost. That's not a massively good justification when you already have a white, blue, black, red, and green source out. Then it's pretty much you're at that point where you can just start casting those spells every turn anyway. So unless you have an excess of massive spells to cast where you need to cast like 2 in one turn, you're not really getting much value off that card. I'm not a big fan of it, but again, it's a white, blue, black, red, green card. It's a full 5-color card. I'd like to play around with it. I guess I could go for the go for like the 50-card special here if I really want to. Okay, whenever you tap a non-land permanent for mana, add an additional mana of any type that permanent produced. So it doesn't actually work with Black Market Tycoon, plus this is a 2-color card, so it's a little harder for it to get cast on turn 2. I guess we can draw that off of Niv-Mizzet, but drawing a 2-mana 2/2 off Niv-Mizzet isn't that exciting. So I think Black Market Tycoon is our weakest mana dork, because it's the hardest to cast and it doesn't work with Kinnan either. So that's 1 card to cut. Our next weakest is Alloy Mirror, because Scuttlebutt is just a strictly better version. And it's another 3-mana mana dork. And then next, it feels like just cut Maelstrom Archangel. But I want all my 5-color cards because I'm greedy. I'm gonna cut Maelstrom Archangel. I need to cut something here. And then 1 more cut to go. I guess we already have 2 red-white cards, Lightning Helix and Deafening Clarion. If we really want to cut Scroll Wielder, it wouldn't be that hard to do it. Because Niv-Mizzet is still picking those 2 up. So we don't really lose all that much in terms of Niv-Mizzet value. It does seem like a pretty powerful effect, though. Are creature types all over the place? Sure are. We have 3 of like 3 different things, but then a ton of 1s. So Menagerie Curator does look like a really good mana dork, even though it only casts our creatures. What are we cutting? 41 card special? This looks like an 18 land deck, though. We have a lot of color restrictive stuff. We really want to hit a mountain of 5-mana stuff in a 6. Maybe we do 42 card 18 land deck just because I can't decide anything here today. We really need to work on the mana base as well. We might have to cut some non-basic lands to up our green counts, unfortunately. All right, let's order our stuff by color here, I guess. 13 green cards, 12 red, 10 blue, or 10 white, and then a little blue and black. Time to go to the land zone, the funnest part of Chromatic Cube deck building. Figuring this nonsense out. Oh boy, this is going to be an experience. Let's go Wooburg order to make it as simple as possible. White, blue, blue, black, white, blue, black, red, green. Ah, the off-color ones, the enemy color ones are going to be so hard to sort. Okay, that's any color, no colors. Okay. All right. Currently we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We only have 4 green sources. That is not enough, for sure. How many white sources do we have without a plains in here? Or actually, how many black sources do we have without a swamp? Because we only have 3 black cards. So without a swamp in the deck, we have Fetid Pools, Zeator's Proving Ground, Xander's Lounge, Isolated Chapel, 4 black sources without a swamp in the deck. Fabled Passage would not be able to bring a black source out if we cut the swamp, but it's still probably better to have 2 forests than 1 swamp. Yeah, we've got a solid amount of other ways to get that black source. Let's cut this swamp, add a forest. That's going to happen right there. Still not enough green sources, so we need to consider other stuff going on here. How's our red sources look? 12 red cards. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 red sources looks is pretty good, to the point where we probably can even cut the mountain, because then we still have 8 red sources. Even if we can't Fabled Passage for a mountain, that's still 8 red sources. So we can cut the mountain to get another forest in here as well. That puts us up to 3, 4, 5, 6. Puts us up to 6 green sources. Still not quite there. And ideally like to get to like 8 green sources. 3, 4, yeah, 6 green sources it is. We're just going to end up with nothing but forests for our basics. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess 7 with Fabled Passage. We're very close. 7. That would be like close enough. If I can't get there without cutting an on basic here, then I might just roll with the 7 green sources. Be a bit iffy, but we'll see. Okay, so we're good on red. We're good on black. How are we doing on blue? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 6 blue sources. We're a-okay on blue. Then how are we doing on white? That's the only color we haven't checked now. For white, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with Fabled Passage. 5 white sources. 5 white sources is a little bit rough. We have 8 red sources, 7 green sources, and 5 white sources. 8, 7, 5. Balancing everything out here would be like cutting 1 red source, adding 1 green source. Then we'd have 8 green sources, 6 red sources, 5 white sources. That looks about right with our split. And then we're doing incredibly good on blue sources, so we can cut one of our blue-red sources and just throw a forest in and then call it a day, I guess. Could be where we want to go here. Cut a blue-red source for another forest. It's our worst blue-red source. Probably Spire Bluff Canal. Well, I guess Sulphur Falls is probably pretty hard to trigger in this deck. So maybe Sulphur Falls, Spire Bluff, and Steam Vents are just better. But lands that come to play tapped in the late game are pretty rough for us, because that's when we really need, like, we need turn 5, we need to slam Golos, so we need to make sure our turn 5 land comes and play untapped. So if we top deck Spire Bluff Canal, it's going to be pretty rough. Rockfall Vale seems like more the kind of deck our kind of land our deck is looking for, but we do have tons of early mana dorks that we want to play on turn 2 as well, so both of those are a bit awkward. Magical Christmas Land, we would just have all shock lands, basically. I'm going to take another look at the black sources. If the black sources are really good, we could cut like Fetid Pools, because it always comes to play tapped. I don't think they're really good, though. We just have 3. Yeah, we just have 3. We have 4. Just 4. It's not like phenomenal, but we don't have that many black cards, so I guess we could cut the Fetid Pools here for the forest instead and still keep 8 red sources. It's going to make our Field of the Dead happen less often, though, as well. Oh, you know what? We're going an 18. We want to go 18 land, 42 card special, which means we just add a forest and don't cut anything. And then we have 8 green sources. Because we have Zyator's Proving Ground and Field of the Dead counting as a green source. So 8 blue sources. I'm sorry, 8 green sources. My brain is mush. Chromatic Cube. This is going to be an interesting couple of weeks here. All right, so we have 8 green sources, 8 red sources, 5 white sources, and then like 4 blue and black. Ideally would want a tiny bit more white, but I think that is close enough that we can roll with that. Because most of our white cards are later gameplays anyway. Alright, here we are with the finished look at our first Chromatic Cube draft deck this time around. We went for it today. We went for the 5-color deck, the big multicolored splashy deck. Green and red at the very core of the deck. The green to get a bunch of mana dorks to help fix our mana and cast our big late game plays early. And then the red to cast a bunch of cheap interaction to help us try to survive against more aggressive strategies. Then once we get to our late game plays, a bunch of big splashy stuff like Omnath, Niv-Mizzet Reborn, and the Kami War, and the 2 best cards in conjunction for a 5-color deck in this cube. Golos, Tireless Pilgrim, a creature that comes into play, pulls out your best multicolored land or your Field of the Dead, and starts casting things out of your library for free if you have 5 colors of mana, and the Field of the Dead itself that can be tutored out of your deck by Golos in a deck with a lot of non-basic lands. Now you're just going to be spitting out a 2/2 zombie every time you get a landfall trigger. So really powerful looking deck here. The mana base is going to be a bit awkward. We got a ton of non-basic lands, but not a lot of green ones, so we still have to run 4 basic forests in here. So yeah, the mana base is definitely the biggest concern of our deck here. We can draw the wrong colors of mana and just get absolutely pooped on, but if we get the right colors of mana, the deck looks pretty good. We even have a pretty crazy curve for a 5-color deck like this, where we can pretty consistently drop some kind of mana dork turn 2 or turn 3, and then drop a big 5 mana play on turn 4. So this looks like it's going to be a pretty fun deck to play around with, and I'm very excited to get started in the Chromatic Cube. Here we are now in game 1 of the Chromatic Cube. We're playing against a Karuga deck, which means they don't have any plays until turn 3. That is what that companion requires. We're going to keep this hand. We've got blue, red, and green. We've got Escape to the Wilds to draw us a ton of cards. Even Menagerie Curator potentially drawing us a bunch of cards as well. Probably just going to go for the turn 4 Omnath off of Menagerie Curator. That could be pretty good. I guess we won't draw the card off the Menagerie Curator, though, which could be awkward. We're going to need to play a green source next turn to play a Mana Dork. Enters battle tapped unless you control 2 or fewer other lands. So I can play this on turn 3. Okay, so I'm going to go Fetid Pools turn 1, Forest turn 2, Spirebluff Canal turn 3. That is the plan. Forest turn 2 into Incubation Druid, because Menagerie Curator is not going to draw us a card off of Omnath anyway, and the Incubation Druid can also cast Escape to the Wilds. I don't think the Menagerie Curator will draw us a card off of Incubation Druid either. We have a lot of mana dorks, so we probably have another Druid in our deck as well. Let's see. We have another elf, at least. We've got a Fauna Shaman in the deck. And then Kinnan is a Druid. Yeah. Okay. So setting up their lands here. Again, Karuga means they're not going to play any permanents until turn 3 or later, or just any spells. Get our Incubation Druid down. Our opponent is on the play here, though, so they're not going to be punished that hard for not having early game plays. Turn 3 now, here's where they get the ball rolling. Rada, Heart of Keld, a very powerful card, allowing them to look at the top card of their library and play lands from the top of their library. So essentially they get to draw a card every time there's a land on top of their library, because they play the land from top instead of the land in hand. So there's Spirebluff Canal. We can Scuttlemutt, we can pull Lutry out of the sideboard, or we can Menagerie Curator. I don't want to get too greedy with Menagerie Curator here. I'm just going to keep making the most on my mana, I think, and get the mana dorks that can cast anything. We don't really need to draw a ton of cards off of Curator here. It's kind of just like a bonus mana dork in this hand because we have Escape to the Wilds to be our big card draw play, plus even Omnath draws us a card when we play it. So if both of our mana dorks are alive, the next turn we can cast Omnath before playing a land so we can even get the landfall trigger and gain 4 life. And that could be pretty good. This is gonna be a massive game, I think, because our opponent has so many non-basic lands out. I'm assuming they're playing a lot of colors. They're at least green, blue, and red, but they might even have white in there with that Rogran Triumph. They could just be running that as a blue-red source, though. But I expect some splashy stuff from opponent. So we're gonna try to cast Omnath here. Hopefully they're not like running counter spells. It's my hope and dream. I didn't see a lot of counter spells in the cube, but I also wasn't like actively looking for them. So I wasn't paying that much attention. Harrow is our opponent's play. It's going to let them get 2 basic lands into play, untapped. Get a red and green source, probably just red, green, blue, if that is the play of choice. Play our Steam Vents so we can get that enter tapped trigger out of the way, because Rockfall Vale will enter untapped at this point. Gain our 4 life, basically completely nullify that 1 hit from Rada there. Probably go for Escape to the Wilds next turn so we can get 2 lands in 1 turn and get the more powerful trigger off of Omnath. Get 4 mana off of it and immediately cast something that we exiled. Siege Gain Commander, powerful card for sure. I'm sure I'm going to be saying a lot of that in this cube, just a bunch of just haymakers running back and forth. Ooh, Fabled Passage can be our additional land here. So we can get the full Omnath trigger. Deals 4 damage to each opponent. Not bad. Not bad at all. Yeah, let's... Would I rather Escape to the Wilds off the green, red, white, blue? I don't know. I'm going to go Rockfall Vale first. I don't know if the sequencing is all correct here, but we'll see. These 2 add a mana of any color, so I'll do those later for sure. Okay, so we hit all that stuff. We hit Field of the Dead Golos? Oh my god, I want to play Field of the Dead so bad. Before I do Fabled Passage, but... You know what, that's probably fine, because we can Field of the Dead, get our 4 mana, use that mana to play Golos, get another land out of the deck that gives us now a zombie, and we still trigger the 3rd mode. We still trigger the 3rd mode of Omnath this way. Yeah, that's insane. That's so good. And then we pass turn. And we've just got insanity over here. Just gotta hope for no, like, wrath effects. I am sure there are wrath effects in this cube, though. They could throw 3 zombies at our Golos to kill it, or 2 of them in Omnath to kill it. They can't really stop our Field of the Dead now. That's just a thing. Ooh boy, Genesis Ultimatum. Here we go. Look at the top 5 cards of the library. Put any permanents from them onto the battlefield. The rest into their hand. Reclamation Sage to blow up Golos plus draw 4. I guess Reclamation Sage land into play and draw 3. I could make Golos a specific color, but that doesn't stop Reclamation Sage. Alright, sad day for Golos. We don't get to do any Golos spins, but we still have powerful stuff on board. I don't actually know how we get through all of their stuff here. We need to find a way to win. I guess we just need to draw into our big flyers. Like Yorion's going to start threatening them pretty hard. And then if we hit Niv Mizzet, that's going to be massive. The Kami War also, a big 6/6 flying trample. Yeah, it's just flyers. Flyers is the win condition for this match, I think. Start blowing up our mana dorks. And then they are out of mana now, so no more blowing stuff up. Go to our turn. We hit a Lightning Bolt. Get rid of Rada or Siege Gain Commander. Both seem like pretty good options. Probably go for Zyator's Proving Ground as the land for turn. Definitely casting Yorion here. When we cast Yorion and we still have the Lightning Bolt mana up, we could go Lightning Bolt and Fauna Shaman. Actually, that's a Bird Serpent. I doubt we have that in our deck. We could go Menagerie Curator, 5 mana for Yorion and still have Lightning Bolt mana. And potentially draw a card this way. Let's see if we draw a card. I'm not sure. We do. Helena and Elena, that's a big one to work with our flyers. That should be very good. I think that's the only enter the battlefield effect is Omnath here. Okay, and then Bolts, Siege Gang Commander. We can chump block Rud all day long. She doesn't get trample, she just gets +X/+X. But I'm letting them play a bunch of extra lands by not blowing her up. But yeah, I mean, I think Siege Gang... Well, I'm at 29 life. They can blow up Scuttlemutt, and I'm not that worried about that. They can blow up zombies. Yeah, Siege Gang Commander's kind of fine. I'm going to blow up Rada, actually. And I guess I don't have to blow anything up right now. I can just wait till later, but... I should have attacked with that zombie. There's a lot of spinning wheels going on here in the Chromatic Cube. I am going to make a lot of misplays, so if you're not into that, I definitely suggest finding another drafter. Maybe check out Numot. I think Numot said he was gonna upload a Chromatic Cube draft today for the launch of Chromatic Cube. Definitely recommend Numot the Nummy. Alright, Siege Gang Commander is going to go ahead and blow up Omnath here. I did not fully think that through. I completely forgot about the stacking things up. Also, Omnath was exiled from my board. Yeah, I should have just blown up Siege Gang Commander. But yeah, Omnath was exiled from my board, so I'm like, well, no. I have nothing they can really blow up here. Yeah, I do. I have an Omnath. It's just not out right now. Well, no more life gain for me. Or life lost to my opponent. Not ideal. Definitely the wrong choice off that Lightning Bolt. Baral's Expertise, get rid of all my zombies and cast a spell for free. I don't know what's going on, and I don't know the right things to do. I'm definitely doing the wrong things, but I'm having fun. This is game one, and I'm having the most fun here. This is just stupid. Radiant Scroll Wielder, we have really powerful instants and sorceries and graves, so that seems like a strong card. But we're definitely casting Helena and Elena, so that we can start just slamming with Yorion. Just a massive Yorion here. We definitely have another human index. We don't need to play Curator before that. We have 4/5 mana. We'll have 6 mana if I play a land here, which means I could go Curator into Scroll Wielder, and we might not have a Dwarf or Cleric in the deck. I guess we'll find out. Let's find out. Do we have a Dwarf or Cleric in this deck? Nope. Draw a card. Sick. Big flying attack here. Oh, now we have Fight with Fire that we could kick pretty soon. Just finish them off with that. If we wait and get really greedy, we might even be able to put Lutri in our hand and then double Fight with Fire kicked. Probably not necessary, though. And that is something I didn't even mention when I drafted the Fight with Fire, was that it does double as a win condition once you get to the late game in a big rampy deck like this. I mean, I guess we're just like chumping here, right? Well, we've got a first striker. They're at 10 and we can just kill them with Fight with Fire, so it's not a huge deal if Helena and Elena die somehow. And then Yorion isn't hitting as hard in the sky. Alright, we are just going to first strike that away, because Helena and Elena are just obnoxious. They don't need first strike or reach, and they would still be really strong. So they put Karuga into their hand. Wait a second. Fight with Fire has lifelink too, so it's deal 10, gain 10. Oh my god. Oh my god. We pick up Escape to the Wilds? Unfortunately, that's unnecessary here. 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. 3. Yep, it's unnecessary. We've got the mana for Fight with Fire, so we just do it. Boop. Nice little boop. And that's going to be game 1. Very explosive, multicolored, splashy nonsense all over the place from both players. This cube's going to be a fun time. I'd like to apologize for all the construction noises in the background if you can hear that. I do live next door to a... I don't even know what they are. They used to be like a car shop that would get used cars and then dismember them there. Disassemble them there? Dismember. Oh my god. But there's some kind of construction place now. There's a lot of loud noises right next to me all the time. So this was a risky keep, because we definitely need to hit a land, and I probably should have mulliganed, but I was a little distracted by the construction noises. And definitely, you know what, definitely should have mulliganed. I'll say it here. We'll just draw a white source, it's all good. We'll immediately cast back Ellie Gardner. Okay, no, we're gonna lose this game, because I did not mulligan. We actually have like every 5-color card in our hand. I guess Omnath doesn't count, but it's basically 5-color. Yeah. I distracted myself to death here. Thanks, neighbors. Yeah, it definitely hurts that it's just like a consistent 2-color aggro deck that we're running up against as well. If it was another big old Karuga deck or something, we might be able to stabilize here. Definitely doesn't look like it for this matchup, though. Yeah, nope.
Violence is necessary to set things right.
Alright, much better mana base this time around. Still very... it's so loud over there. Still quite distracted. I'm gonna try to get better at that. I should just get massive noise-canceling headphones. I have noise-canceling headphones, but it's so loud that, I don't know, it gets to me still. We can't play an untapped land turn 2 no matter what we do, so we can't just drop turn 2 Kinnan. Probably just play the 3-color tapped land here. Should just put a, like, wall of pillows or something there. Ooh, that's an untapped land for turn 2 if I want to play Fauna Shaman. I think I'd rather go untapped land turn 3 to play Essica. I guess Rockfall Veil comes into play untapped turn 3 no matter what, so I can go turn 2 Fauna Shaman, turn 3 Essica. It's actually a thing. It's pretty good. Green and blue from our opponent, Menagerie Curator. That card did a lot of work for us last game. Very good card, for sure. I guess I could hold off for the Prismatic Bridge here, actually, and that would probably be very strong. So do we go... We can't go Kinnan, though, so we just put Lutri into our hand. Or Lutri into our hand. Whatever it's called. That seems like a fine way to go. Yeah, I kind of like waiting for Prismatic Bridge. Could be big stuff. Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. That's a big card. Ooh, especially when it's their only Elder Giant in their deck. Weird, they didn't draft Elder Tribal? Revenge of Grandpa. That would be pretty fun. Ornithopter Paradise, that is their only Thopter. Yeah, Menagerie Curator's just popping off. This card is going to be great in this cube. I can't play Field of the Dead and expect to turn 5 Prismatic Bridge. Currently we can go black, white, green, blue, and then red off of Sulphur Falls. Yeah, so we play the tapped Fetid Pools this turn, Sulphur Falls untapped next turn, and then Prismatic Bridge. That is our plan. I could Fauna Shaman this Lutri. into something better, because in our deck it's really kind of just a 3-2. Don't want to do that. Just get a better 2-drop here. Just cast it immediately. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good synergy. Pick up Lich and just discard it for something else. Could scoop up Golos. Ooh. Turn 5 Golos with a Field of the Dead in hand? Or do I want something I just play immediately? Play our own Menagerie Curator? Because I'm feeling left out. I'm going to take the Golos here. Could have made better use of our mana, but this looks like a grindy matchup. Our opponent's just sitting here drawing 1,000 cards right now, instead of playing anything super scary. Springbloom Druid. That is not their only Druid. Or their only Elf. So, luckily no card draw off that one, but they are going to get some more mana ramp. And fill their graveyard a tiny bit for Uro. Once they get 5 of their cards in grave, that'll come out and do a lot of life gain card draw. The Reality Chip. That card is absurd. You spend the 3 mana to reconfigure it onto something, and then you can just play cards from the top of your library, which means you just get to just go really fast. I'm a little scared in this matchup that our opponent can just Reclamation Sage us if we just drop Prismatic Bridge, but they can do the same if we just drop Golos. So I'm not sure what to do, because whatever we do can very well just get completely annihilated. I'm gonna hope for the best here. No Reclamation Sage. Fingers crossed very hard. Plus, if we wait for Golos till turn 6, we get to play Field of the Dead and then Golos to tutor out a land, and we'll get a zombie in the process. So even if they immediately blow up Golos, we'll at least get a zombie there. Alright, so Reality Chip is active. They're going to start drawing a ton of extra cards again, because now they just play everything off the top of their library as if it's in their hand. There's Teferi, Master of Time. That is horrifying. Maybe they'll mill out? I don't know if Thassa's Oracle's in this cube. I hope not. But yeah, that can use its abilities during our turn as well. They get to draw a card, discard a card. They get to phase out creatures. They get to take 2 extra turns eventually. Ooh, Yorion. I don't want to blink anything, though. But I'll just keep you. Just hang out. Okay, so Golos time? Or Armingala, so our creatures start getting bigger. Not sure, both are pretty fun. We could fight with Fire Teferi, actually. That might be better, just cast Kinnan and then fight Teferi with Fire. Play it safe here. Playing it safe is for cowards. I'm just gonna go crazy. It's our first Chromatic Cube draft. Let's just do Chromatic Cube things. I'm just gonna go for the most explosive thing I can do every turn. We can blow up Teferi later. We can kick fight with Fire. Blow up Teferi and some other stuff at a later time. Let's go. Our deck's just gonna keep getting bigger. It includes the graveyard too, the Luxury in our grave. Golos is gonna be a big boy. 4/6 now.
Think fast.
We could also just attack Teferi with Yorion, kill their Ornithopter of Paradise, and then attack again next turn. I guess they phase out Yorion, but then they're definitely not getting to the ultimate if they start having to use the phase out ability. I hope there's no Thassa's Oracle in this cube, because that's going to be a problem if there is. We're going to die to it if there is, because they are sliding on through their deck. They definitely are going to make it to the self-mill So either they're going to lose from that or they're going to win from that. Depending on what's in this cube. Oh, Pool of Vigorous Growth. They've got the Momir card. Get a random creature with mana cost X. That card is so fun. Oh, I'm so pumped for that thing. Ooh, Back Alley Gardener. Start seeking lands. Putting them into play. Tapped. That's very good with Field of the Dead. Oh my god. Radiant Scroll Wielder. We don't have anything in our grave for that, so that's not very good here. We just Golos, right? I guess I could Fauna Shaman for pretty much anything and cast it, but Golos seems like probably the strongest thing to just cast. With our Field of the Dead. Okay, pick up a Triome here, most likely. Could pick up a Fabled Passage for another zombie later, but just get a Triome. Cool, and then Temple of Enlightenment is the random seeked land for Field of the Dead. And then we scry one from the temple. This happens in our upkeep, so if it's a good creature, keep it on top and we'll hit it off Prismatic Bridge. If it's a good creature, we'd keep it on top either way, but seems cool. Oh, they tapped Ornithopter Paradise, so Teferi has to phase out Yorion here, or just take 5. Lightning Bolt on top, it won't be on top either way, so I guess it doesn't matter. Because it's just going to get skimmed past by the Prismatic Bridge next turn. Alright, get our Yorion phased out here. So that Teferi just takes 3 instead of 5.
Oh, you'll get over it.
Oh, Yorion doesn't get the buff if it's phased out. That's rough.
Ideas, like seconds, are fleeting.
Yeah, these Chromatic Cube board states are just actually insane. I think I'm in a better position, but our opponent has 1,000 cards, and if they have a self-mill card, like Thassa's Oracle, where they win from having a small library, they are going to win. So it could really go either way here. This is insanity. Bounce the Back Alley Gardener, take an extra turn, and Luxury to take 2 extra turns? Why are there extra turn spells in this cube? Come on. Double Karn's Temporal Sundering is brutal. I guess extra turn cards are like big splashy effects that don't generally work in limited incredibly well. So when you have the cube that supports them and makes them pretty powerful, it's a lot of fun to throw them in there. You can get an Ornithopter here. Oh, nope, they got a 0/0 and it died. Champion of Ronus is going to exert itself to spit any creature from their hand onto the battlefield. Hornet Queen, that is very bad. They have 2 extra turns after this one. I think Hornet Queen just kills us in 2 bonus turns. Phase out Golos. We only have 2 blockers now. Yeah, if they attack all 2 turns in a row, I think they find lethal. Big old time walk, double time walk. Time stretch. Alright, that taps our whole board state and deals 4 to us. So they probably even have lethal in their first turn here. But if they don't, they have another extra turn after this one. That was explosive. That one was fun. That was a fun way to die. The round 2, I'm pretty salty I didn't mulligan. That was dumb. That was dumb of me, but 1 and 2, I will absolutely take that second loss. Just big, explosive, dumb plays from our opponent, as the Chromatic Cube is all about. Okay, here we are now in round 4. Fire Prophecy and Lightning Helix for early game here. Seems pretty good to me. Yep, Incubation Druid turn 2. Get that Armangala down early. Make the rest of our deck pretty absurd. Buffing all of our creatures every single turn. Alright, we'll start with our turn 2 Incubation Druid. So we have to put the companion into our hand at sorcery speed, so I don't get to hold up one of our instants here, unfortunately. Much as I would love to. I think we just put that in our hand. Pass. Opponent is stuck on 2 mana, it looks like, as they move to their end step. A white-black deck with Scuttlemutt as the discard. Just get our Armangala, we'll set up while we can. There's the third land, a green-blue land, so it could be another 5-color deck like ours. No reason to double spell at all here. We probably just play like Scroll Wielder, I guess. Seems fine. Our biggest creature. Attack for 1. We could stop on our upkeep before Scroll Wielder resolves to Lightning Helix them and then pick up the Lightning Helix. Don't know if that would be worth it, but it's a thing we can do. If they play some creatures for us to blow up, that would be worth it. Okay, they're going to blow up the Armangala. So they're not going to blow up any creatures. So we can go Lightning Helix, double it with Lutry, and then just pick it up. That seems pretty fun. I don't know if it's the right thing to do, but it's fun. We're going to gain like 1,000,000 life. Okay, we're at 32 now, and we have Lightning Helix back. I guess it doesn't go to our hand, it goes to exile for a turn. Yeah, we don't actually get to recast it because I used the Lutry. So there was no reason to use Lutry there. But it did put a big creature on our board. Alright. Missing 1 land drop there is going to push it in our favor, letting Armangala get an extra turn of buffs. There's the big double Lightning Helix. 2 and 2. Here we are in round 5, another very keepable hand. Excellent mana going on here. Excellent late game plays. We just need to hit a couple more lands. Stuck on 3 right now. But this hand can do some explosive stuff. Alright, there's our 4th mana. Pretty excellent. Playing against red-green so far. Shigeki, Jukai Visionary is going to be their first play. They can bounce that to their hand to get some extra lands onto the battlefield and some cards into their grave. Unfortunately, we don't have a white source for this back alley Gardener. So that is not going to happen right now. We're going to have to wait for Golos for that. Alright, they're just going to ramp up a bit here. They've got their own Field of the Dead going on. Pick up a green-black source. Looks like a Jund deck here. Ooh, with some big stuff coming up. Ooh, there's Fabled Passage. That can get us our white source for back alley Gardener. We could play that this turn instead of Helena and Elena, because they only work if you have another creature on the board. Yep, seems good to me. We do have a Plains in here. We have 1 Plains and a bunch of forests for basics. Drop the back alley gardener. Field of the Dead's a little far from popping off right now because we have 2 forests in hand. What is this? We sack a creature, they get 1 into their hand. One of these alchemy cards. Alright. Seems like a solid turn. We can't do Essica yet. Do we play Omnath before we go for Golos so we get some nice Golos value? Or do we just go Golos here? We go for Omnath. Omnath this turn, Golos next turn. Get the nice landfall trigger at that point. Can we get 5 color next turn now? We can go white, blue, black, red, green. We can. If I play Crag Crown Pathway on red. So that's probably what we do. Or just play Rockfall Veil now. It's also pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be our 5th land with a different name. So if we Golos, we still don't have Field of the Dead triggered yet. So I think I would rather Prismatic Bridge. They could double block and kill here. It doesn't seem great to me. So no attacks that turn. Vivian on the hunt.
I'll show you city.
Make a bunch of rhinos. Get a land every time they do it because of our back alley gardener. They got a duplicate of. Opponent just rolling us with the alchemy cards. Rolling us with our own alchemy cards. Which is incredibly rude. I have 6th land here. And then Golos hits the Field of the Dead for the 7th. 3 mana up afterwards. We can play Lutri or Ornithopter of Paradise. Sure, yeah. I guess we only have 2 mana untapped because one of these comes into play tapped here. Oh yeah, but Omnath gives us a bunch of mana now. Because that's our 2nd land this turn. So then we play Yorion for Omnath and Golos. Do it all again. Pick out a Triome. Gain 4 again, draw a card. Alright, well, we're doing big things. Opponent's doing big things too. Very back and forth here. This cube is absurd. This cube is absurd. Literally every turn, I don't know if I'm a turn away from death or a turn away from winning. It's just chaos. Alright, Kolagon's command's very powerful there. Blow up Fauna Shaman and Golos. Field of the Dead still popping off. The Field of the Dead back alley generator is so disgusting. It's so nasty. I drafted that combo and now my opponent is benefiting from it. They've stolen my plans. They stole the Krabby Patty secret formula. Davriel. Someone gets perpetually -3/-3. Wow, yeah, that's rough. Alright, keep getting lands out, keep getting random zombies. Vivian's gonna keep making rhinos. Send in a 4/4. Yeah, they are definitely gonna have more zombies than us. or creatures in general. +2 on Vivian here.
Life.
Grab a 4 mana creature from their deck, put it into play. Yawgmoth! Oh my god. Now they get to sack 2 zombies to kill Yorion completely, and draw 2 cards in the process. Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, fingers crossed. Hit us something good, Prismatic Bridge. Give us our Niv Mizzet. That would be insane. Nope, Scuttlemutt it is. Just a little dork. So we have Helena and Elena, Ornithopter, Paradise, Letry. None of these really do much of anything. I guess we can go Ornithopter, Paradise, Helena and Elena. Now they have to sack 2 zombies to kill the Ornithopter, Paradise in response to the Helena, Elena trigger. Or I could just buff Omnath. Yeah, if I try to buff Ornithopter Paradise, they sack 2 zombies to kill it and draw 2 cards. If I try to buff Omnath, they can't really do anything about it. So I guess I try to buff Omnath. Then they could triple block here, and then we kill Yawgmoth. Oh. Kill Yawgmoth and 1 zombie. Is that worth it? To lose our Omnath? It's mainly just gaining us a bunch of life every turn at this point. Yeah, Yawgmoth is a massive, massive deal. It's probably worth trading Omnath into Yawgmoth. Alright, chump block it is. So don't have to worry about that. Yeah, with Yawgmoth, the chump blocks are pretty free. Because you get to draw a card and put a -1/-1 counter on something while they chump.
Oh, you don't want to mess with me.
So whenever we attack player planeswalker they control, we have to discard a card or sacrifice an attacking creature. Rough. Cavalier of Night, sacks a zombie, blows up any creature on our board, kills Omnath. That is incredibly strong. And get a Rhino from Vivian here. And Skittering Surveyor pulls out another land. Well, our opponent isn't a blue deck, so we might actually be able to mill them out if we can survive, if we have no other game plan. Prismatic Bridge could change that any turn. Can give us a huge game plan. Ooh, Escape to the Wilds. If we still had Omnath, that would be huge, because we could do the double land thing and get a bunch of mana back out of it, but now if I cast it and copy it, I'm not going to have like any mana up. But I get to play bonus lands, so I guess I will have enough to cast a little bit of stuff. Ooh, Lightning Bolt. Not actually that insane here, the Lightning Bolt. Well, I guess now I'm losing the mill game. Especially because Menagerie Curator's on our board too. Okay, definitely untapped land. And then we don't have another untapped land to play, unfortunately. So we go tapped land and scry 1. Kinnan on top. It's cool to have on top. That could double up mana for later. Sure. Do we have the mana for that? We're 1 mana off from the Kami War. Oh, the Kami War would have been our best play here for sure. Blot Out the Sky is going to be really big next turn. Destroy all non-creature, non-land permanents. So we don't want to play any non-creature, non-lands. I kind of don't want to play Niv-Mizzet either. Because I don't want to draw any more cards. But it is also a big flyer. Radiant Scroll Wielder could be big. That would get us Escape to the Wilds again, but then we'd mill ourselves. So I guess that's not great here. Do we just play a couple mana dorks so we can just cast a million things next turn? I guess. Uh-oh, we drew a card from playing a plant. I guess I could go Kinnan, and then Scuttlemutt can still cast Incubation Druid because of Kinnan's ability. No, stop drawing cards! Menagerie, please be a May ability. No, stop doing this to me! Oh my god! Okay. Okay. Alright. This is scary. I have 36 life. I'll play this untapped so I can hold up Lightning Bolt. Guess I could just kill Davriel with Lightning Bolts, but I'm going to blot out the sky and kill all of those anyway, so I'd rather hold it up to be able to maybe blow up a creature. Oh my god, I have this to do as well now? Does not really matter. We can make Kinnan harder to kill, I guess. Unless they kill it right now. If they kill it right now, they draw 2. Something. Mythos of Nethroi. Blow up Helena and Elena. Fair enough. No, it still gets the 1 counter? That's weird. Alright. I'm probably just going to mill myself here. Mistakes were made on the exile 10 cards from your library. It was pretty exciting, but a bit scary. Alright, a bunch of nonsense is happening here. All kinds of stuff. I don't even know at this point. We probably just cast the biggest blot out the sky that's ever been cast, and that's our goal. It's probably not the biggest that's ever been cast, but it'll be big. Okay, they get a Rhino.
I brought
Just try to find lethal with a bunch of 2/1 flyers, I guess. Workshop War Chief. Gain some life. They get a Rhino or something when it dies. Alright, we're not bolting anything. We'll just hold on to it. 5 cards left. None are creatures. Deafening Clarion. Creature control gain lifelink. That'll be a big blot out the sky. Okay. I think that I straight up just put all my mana into blot out the sky and let everything else just remain exiled. Maybe I Armingala and blot out the sky. But blot out the sky first, obviously. So... I don't know how much mana that is. 6? 6? 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16? 17? Minus 2, 15.
This violence is getting out of hand.
And then if we just survive this attack, then we win. But now with Armingala, we like double win if we survive this attack. Why is it saying I can cast Lightning Bolt? I can't do that off Menagerie Curator. Oh, because Kinnan. Kinnan's going to make me add a red mana if Menagerie Curator adds a red. Even though Menagerie's mana can only be used on creatures, because of Kinnan, the bonus mana can be used on anything. Chromatic Cube is some madness. It's just nonsense. I'm gonna get Wrath Effect into just milling out. That's the one thing I hope doesn't happen. If they find lethal somehow, then I'm all for that. But if they just blow up all my 2/1 flyers, I'll be so sad. Woo! Armangala's popping off. All right. Do I get to untap with my 15 3/2 flyers? Or no? I've got 3 cards in hand, a bunch of mana. They scooped them up. We were going to get to untap with 15 3/2 flyers, blot out the sky for lethal after exiling 10 cards in my library and then drawing a bunch of extra cards off Menagerie Curator. That got really sketchy there. Oh my god, I love this cube. We're at 3-2 now, whatever happens here. A 50-50 win rate for the first Chromatic Cube draft. Here we are now in game 6 with a pretty keepable hand, very interactive. Fire Prophecy, Lightning Helix, and Deafening Clarion to deal with aggressive strategies. And if they're not an aggressive strategy, then once we make it to turn 5, we've got our Golos game plan started. Play this Spire Bluff Canal turn 1 so that we can Fire Prophecy turn 2 if need be. Oh, it comes into play untapped no matter what. That was a mistake. I'm getting all my lands mixed up because I have so many of them. That was not the come into play tapped blue-red one. So now we've drawn a Mana Dork for turn 2, so that's definitely the play on turn 2. Alright, opponent gets a 0/3 and draws a card for the first 2 turns. They're on at least blue-black, but they've also got red available. Scry 1 here. Another land. I think I can use that. Yeah, with Golos we want to hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we want more. We want more for Field of the Dead to trigger. Do I want to put Lechery into my hand or just pass and hold up these instants? I think we put this into our hand. Dread Horde Invasion is the play. They're still on 3 mana here, so we might be safe to play it a little slow here. Now we get to drop Armangala or Golos. I'll play the Gala here. And then next turn, we can go for Golos. And play an untapped Isolated Chapel. We've got multiple mana up though, and they look pretty controlling, this blue-black color pair here. Do we have a play that could bait them into a counterspell? Not particularly. So we can just hold up Lechery plus Lightning Helix. That's fine. Wait, red 1. No, we can't attack with Ornithopter and hold that up. We have to pass to do that. Just wait for them to tap out for something and then we just slam down Golos. I should have played my tapped land this turn if I wasn't going to play Golos, because I didn't realize I'd have to hold up Ornithopter instead of attacking with it. So a bit of a misplay there. Yeah, they're just going to hold up all of their mana all game, it looks like. So do this during their end step. See if this draws a counterspell. And if it does, then Golos is free to come on out. Looks like it doesn't draw a counterspell. Alright, which is a big one here. Just Kind of see. Oh, they're gonna scoop them up. All right. I was just gonna attack and then go to main phase 2 and see if they use removal when we go to attack or not. It's like, no, I guess they're just stuck on mana there. Just can't do too much, and that'll get us to 4 and 2. I was about to say 4 and 3, counting my last loss before it's happened. Round 7, here we go. Definite keeper here. Definite keeper. Yeah, this hand is absurd. We might actually just cast Essica instead of the Prismatic Bridge this time around, because she will let us ramp into Omnath, which, as we've seen, is always a pretty powerful card. Always draws removal, kind of changes the course of the game. Do you like jazz? Apparently Xander's Lounge enjoys jazz. Fabled Passage, turn 1 from our opponents. Pull out a basic land from their deck. And it is going to be a Plains, a very fancy Plains. Ooh, now we got Menagerie Curator, so we get to ramp up even without Essica. But now if we cast Essica, we're casting a god, and I'm fairly certain she's the only god in our deck. Do we have any other humans or rangers in our deck? We probably have a human. There's no way we don't have a human in there somewhere. Yeah, we do. Kennan's a human. So we won't draw a card if we play Helena and Elena, but we will put a powerful card on the board. We will draw a card if we cast Essica, but we won't need her ramp that much anymore. I think that's fine. I think I still want to cast Essica and just draw the card. Ooh, we've drawn a plant. We will definitely draw a card from casting a plant. Next turn we can cast Omnath. And that's about it, because we'll have 6 mana. Omnath is 5. And it kind of sucks Omnath got nerfed, because the mana cost is like, it's so much less appealing at red, green, white, blue, and 1. Like it's really beautiful when it's like 1 mana of every single color, and you look at the artwork and you're like, oh, that just makes sense aesthetically. It's like so pleasing, but it was just too strong. Too strong. Got to slap another mana on there. The Restoration of a Gonjo. That's going to get them a 3/4 that spits out 1/1s eventually. It's also going to return a land from their battlefield, from their grave to the battlefield next turn. It's pretty good. Okay. So we're casting Omnath, and we have 1 more mana to play around with, which doesn't do anything, so we might as well cast Omnath with another land here. Well, no, I'll just play a tapped land for the turn, because it's not like the 1/4 is going to get in super hard. Sator's Proving Ground, no thanks. Doing pretty great on lands here, let's get rid of that one. Alright, opponent is ramping as well in their Banch deck, their green, white, blue deck, their Broker's deck. Ooh, every creature in their hand comes with a 1/1. So they're definitely like a token deck here. If they have the Ropeline Attendant and the Restoration of a Gonjo, both of those producing tokens. At least they're a deck that can use token effects, at the very least, even if they're not completely built around tokens. So Restoration of a Gonjo, they do get to discard a card here, so they might be considering discarding a 2-drop to put it on the board, and that is what they do with this Paradise Druid here. Rather than putting a land out, they'll put a creature land into play. You can Fire Prophecy that. That actually seems fine. Deputy of Detention. Well, now I'm going to Fire Prophecy that. I'm going to get Omnath right back onto this board. That's how that works, right? We're going to exile it until it leaves the battlefield. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So it's going to be really powerful to Back Alley Gardener first, so that when Omnath hits the board again, we'll get a land, and then we play the land after this, so that we'll have 2 landfall triggers this turn. Yeah, this should be great. And then put this forest into the library to draw a different card. Radiant Scroll Wheeler it is. Alright, so we get Omnath back. Draw a card and seek a land. Which triggers Omnath's first ability plus draw. Now we trigger Omnath's second ability. Get a bunch of mana. 4, 5, 6 mana to play around with. We can play a creature like Helena and Elena. Still have 2 mana up to play another one like a plant that draws us a card. And then we can give Omnath haste and attack really hard. Alright, that was a pretty insane turn. Oh, and Omnath is Vigilance because it's legendary. Essica makes them all legendary. Cool, so we just get rid of a 1/1 there. Explosive stuff going on from our deck here. I do enjoy it. Got Fight with Fire very soon because all our legendaries are tapping for mana. So maybe we put Lechery in hand and we try to do the double Fight with Fire to just shoot our opponent for 20. Tolsimir Friend to Wolves gets to fight something here, so that gets rid of Helena and Elena. They are too small to survive that fight, unfortunately. Okay, yeah, I definitely like trying to set up a Fight with Fire Lechery play. Seems pretty strong. Scroll Wielder should draw us a card here, though, so I'll do that first and see what we draw into. Kinnan. Kinnan is pretty strong. Oh my god, we got Field of the Dead as the Seeked land? That's actually insane. Do we have the mana to play Kinnan and... I think we have the mana to play Kinnan and use its ability, actually, instead of doing the Lechery thing. Oh my god. Oh my god, we get Niv Mizzet off of... Oh my god. Off of Kinnan, and then we get these 2 cards off of Niv Mizzet to our hand. I don't know what's happening anymore. I don't even know how to commentate this. We're just kind of doing things. Yep, and we can still put Lechery in hand because of Kinnan. Attack with 6/6 Omnath. They can go for some kind of big multi-block. They're at 23 life now. No, they gained 3 life, so I can't double Fight with Fire to kill them here. Maybe I should have just Deafening Clarion. It would kill some of our stuff, but it would kill more of theirs. Yeah, let's close this game out. Let's send some attacks in and lower their field. Even though we lose some good creatures here, we have a mountain of cards in hand plus a draw 5. So we can trade down because we're so far in the card advantage lead here. We can trade our really good creatures like Omnath away. And our 3/4 down into a 1/1. Oh no, it spits out on blocks too? Okay, the attack with the 3/4 was really bad, but stand by the attack with Omnath here. Can definitely afford to trade down here. Just to try to close out this game quicker, make it so it's less likely our opponent finds any outs. Yeah, they're just going to scoop them up here. That was explosive nonsense. I don't even know everything that came together there, but it was just so many cards synergizing together to just spit out tons of mana, draw tons of cards, spit out things for free. That was absurd stuff. 5 and 2 it is. We are getting our 4,000 gold back out of this no matter what, getting our 3 random rare rewards basically for free, alongside the ability to just have played this cube and had a lot of fun in the process. So excellent win rate here, excellent record. We are in the money, in the value. Super fun time for the first Chromatic Cube draft. Here we are in round 8, 5 wins and 2 losses under our belt with an excellent keep again. The mana base has just been panning out pretty well for us, except for our one game that I just didn't mulligan when I really should have. But that was more on me than our mana base. All right. Super excited. We've got Plant at the ready. The MVP. I'll probably just play a tapped land turn 1, though. Since we don't have a Plains or Swamp to make sure that that'll be untapped later in the game. At least not in hand right now. Temple of Enlightenment is our opponent's turn 1 play. Turn 2, we will drop the Curated. Turn 3, we can just drop Helena and Elena and make a big plant. I'm a little worried about a counterspell from our opponent, but whatever. When in Rome. Alright, no counterspell. Doesn't seem like this cube has a lot of counterspells. I don't think I've ran up against a single counterspell yet. Baron, Tolarian Archmage that'll bounce Helena and Elena, force us to recast her. They could bounce the plants, because if they bounce Helena and Elena and I hit a land drop, I can just go land drop player again and then attack with a 5/5 plant. So they are going to bounce the plant. I did hit a land drop, but it comes into play tapped here, and now we're stuck on 3 mana because they bounced our mana dork, which is not ideal for us. Let's go Spire Bluff Canal, and then I think I would rather have my Ornithopter of Paradise than my Caryatid, so I can attack in the sky, which is pretty nice. Send in the squad. And now we have a Lightning Bolt to shoot Baron with if they try to do any synergies where they draw cards off of it by returning their own cards to hand. Or flickering. Or, I guess no, this one only draws by bouncing to hand. Alright, Fabled Passage can pull out any basic land into play untapped since it is turn 4, and they're going to grab a swamp and drop a Hostage Taker. We're just going to not deal with that at all. No thanks. A Lightning Bolt putting in some serious work there. And they're just going to scoop them up. Lightning Bolt for that cheap interaction to stop their removal. Just going to win us the game there. Helena and Elena just going to steamroll. Even just with mana dorks alongside her, she is a... well, they are a very powerful card. There are 2 of them. Alright. 6 wins and 2 losses. Next round is the final round. Win or lose. Let's see how it goes for us. Okay, so here we are in the final round with probably the sketchiest hand that I might actually keep because every land in here comes into play tapped. I guess Isolated Chapel comes to play untapped turn 2 because we have a swamp out. So we go Zeotor's Proving Ground, Isolated Chapel, Incubation Druid. That curves out pretty well. Definite keep, I guess. Now that I think of it that way. We'd certainly have all of our colors to potentially get to a Niv Mizzet if we just hit one more land outside of Field of the Dead. Obviously, Field of the Dead does not get us there, tapping for colorless. But Incubation Druid with these 3 lands, it's already 4 colors right there. We need literally any land that taps for a color to cast Niv Mizzet, unless they blow up the Mana Dork. Very rude things from our opponent. I don't appreciate that. So let's go Temple here and scry 1 so we see what we're drawing into. Untapped land, pretty good here. Blue, black, white, red. Yeah, that gets us very close to Niv Mizzet. I'm going to keep that plains there. And we're holding up our Lightning Helix or Fire Prophecy if our opponent plays their own card. It looks like they're not going to. So we'll just play Field of the Dead now and put Latry into our hand. Turn 4 from our opponent. They do play something this time. It is a creature, so now we can go ahead and use our removal. Probably Fire Prophecy here. We actually don't have anything we want to get rid of for Fire Prophecy, so I'll just Lightning Helix. Tap land, Lightning Helix, that's the play. I could just play Yorion, but I'd rather save Yorion for after we Niv Mizzet, so that if they don't immediately blow up Niv Mizzet, then we get 2 triggers off of it, which should just completely win us the game if that can happen. Alright. Ashaya is the next play. We definitely can't blow that up. That's too big. Ooh, Blot Out. This guy's a really nice card. We won a game with that in the past. So let's drop the Niv Mizzet and just see what we draw. Off the top 10. 4 cards. Don't mind if I do. Give me the goodies. We'll have to discard one. We drew so many. Probably, honestly, probably Latry. Maybe Armingala is a little late. We could even discard the Fire Prophecy because Scroll Wheeler could maybe pick it up later. Kinnan doesn't have any mana dorks alongside it here. I really honestly don't know what I'm supposed to discard here. So everything is solid. I think I'm going to discard Kinnan. We just don't have any mana dorks for it. We're pretty close to enough mana to start just doing that with just our lands, but still. Maybe that was wrong, because Kinnan, it's like the cheapest card in our hand, so it's most likely for us to be able to go like Kinnan Armingala If we want to cast 2 things in one turn, it would be easiest with our 2-drop card that I just discarded. We only have 1 green source though right now. That's the biggest problem with our mana right now. Ooh, Ilharg the Raise Boar? I think I want to exile that. Shai is still going to be real big though. But yeah, Kami War is the draw, and that's probably the play here, so we can get rid of one of these threats. I'm going to get rid of Ilharg the Raise Boar. The threat that it has is really... They're all lands because of a Shia! No! Oh my god, Ilharg's a land! We can't exile a land. Oh no, we just lose! Oh my god, no! Oh, this is what happens when you don't play Constructed. I've not played against a Shia enough. Oh my god. I'm just trading Niv Mizzet into Ilharg. Oh, we're dead. We're so dead. We can't even return any of their cards because they're lands. Kami War's actually 6 mana, do nothing. They have Vivian here. Mill 5, put any creature into their hand, and then they slam it onto the board with Ilharg. And one of them is Skyclave Apparition to exile Niv Mizzet. Oh my god. Well, I threw this game in the dumpster. Oh, wow. We didn't have a great chance either way, but wow, I punted that. Wow, opponent's deck's insane. Yeah, we were probably losing. Probably losing even if I cast something there. But that was bad. That was not what we wanted to do that turn. Alright, well there's a chump blocker. That's a start. Skyclave Apparition doesn't exile that either because it's too cheap. If any other way to spit more lands onto the board? No. We only have 7 mana here. I could double Fire Prophecy to kill Ilharg. And then Luttree's also too small for Skyclave Apparition to kill. So that's probably our best bet to survive a turn here, is to double Fire Prophecy. Can I even do that though? Yes, I can, because Luttree's hybrid blue or red. Okay. I guess I could either way, because Xander's Lounge. Gala's too slow, I think. Nice, that's the kind of thing we need. Cheap interaction. Yorion also seems too slow. Blot Out the Sky is also pretty slow, but that could be our win condition and it blows up Vivian. Oh. I think I just keep all these. I just decline that time. Alright, so Ilharg goes back into their library, 3rd from the top. So they'll redraw it at a later time. If they try to Skyclave Apparition the Kami War, we get to Lightning Bolt the Skyclave Apparition. And get a token out of it. We don't get to keep the Kami War, but we get a token. It's 2 separate triggers. No way. They just draw into Wrath. Because I think their whole hand was revealed until that. Well, that'll do it to us. Maybe we could have won that if I didn't just dump out the Kami War. Oh wait, Lightning Bolt. Because the Shia took 5. Oh my god, it's still not over. It's still not over. Now we have a big dragon, which is going to get killed by Skyclave Apparition, but it's something. Do they have haste at all? They don't have any haste. We can make our Okagachi have haste here. Sure. Whenever it attacks, they choose a non-land card in my graveyard, return it to my hand, and it gets plus X plus O, where X is the mana value. Oh my god, so we put a card back in a hand too here, which we might be able to play. Oh my god, it's not over. It's very not over. This game's... Oh my god, this game has been insane. We get Incubation Druid. Alright, solid. That's another blocker. I'll take it. Oh, I don't have green source up. Oh, our opponent saw that so quickly. Do I want this as a land or do I want to cycle it? Play it as a land. Because I get a 2/2 out of that. So that I don't die to removal plus haste creature. This game's insane. This cube is insane. They scooped them up! Oh my god. Victory from the jaws of defeat there. I punted so hard into that Ashaya. But then it actually, maybe we won because we punted into Ashaya, because it got us the 10 damage swing with the Kami War. And it bounced their Planeswalker. So we only missed the first part of the saga, and then we did attack with it. So if that game went differently and I had read Ashaya, I would not have cast the Kami War, which means I wouldn't have been attacking with that 10 power thing that turn and returned Incubation Druid to hand and all that. The course of the game was definitely altered, probably for the worse. We probably were in a worse position because I did that, but in the end, we did use it. I have no idea. I don't know. That was insanity. All of those games, all of those matches were just some absolutely wild stuff, pretty much except for the one game that I wasn't paying attention and didn't mulligan. That was just pretty basic. Just nice white-black curve out against us, and we didn't really cast anything. But every other game pretty much was just insanity from both players. This cube is... It's pretty bonkers. This is a fun cube, and I am very excited to draft plenty more of these in the coming weeks. These are going to be live for 2 weeks, so if you're interested in drafting the cube yourself, definitely check it out. It's 4,000 gold to play, but you don't keep anything you draft, but you do get a amount of the gold back as well as some random rare rewards. So I think it's solid value if you actually enjoy playing the cube. Obviously, if you're just trying to expand your collection, it's not really the draft format for you, but it is a fun draft format. I highly recommend it, and I will definitely be back with plenty more of these Chromatic Cube drafts, as I said before, in the coming weeks. As always, if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to let the YouTube algorithm know to recommend some more of these videos to yourself and others. And once again, as always, thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.